Okay, so hi everyone, welcome to Practical CAD Cam. So my goal for this channel is to kind of show you how to use some CAD software, but really going from concept of what you need to producing it, designing it, making it, and fixing it, because sometimes it's not right the first time, and understanding that that's okay. uh, you make an initial design is kind of just a prototype, just to get it on the printer in a sense. So we are going to just kind of go through the motions of looking at an idea, a very simple one today. As you see on the screen here, it is just a simple little flip screw little mount. Nothing crazy. I've used these in pop-ups, stuff like that. This is merely just a design, just something simple to put together. All right, so we're going to start with this right here. The measurements are pretty simple. We are 40 millimeters high, 40 millimeters long here, um, from center point, correction. Anyway, so then we'll just go from there. It's kind of a free form. So I'm going to create a new one. All right, everyone. So Practical CAD is also about teaching you some basics and tools on the outside of things. So I have several sketching tools. You don't need to buy them, but these are very useful in doing this type of stuff. So, for instance, this is a Remarkable 2. I am very happy with the Remarkable series. I have a other sketching tools, but I have a tablet. That's kind of where I got with it, but a lot of distractions. Um, because if you're like me, you have a task, you want to get to it, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I wonder what that Warhammer player did, or how'd that football game go, or you know, what's going on in the news. Well, today, or is that a better way of doing it, huh? So that I never get back to it. So the Remarkable 2 has been a great tool for me to to do this. Now, Remarkable is not a sponsor. The Samsung tablet that I have is not a sponsor. The the Scribe, the wow, what is that thing called from Prime? Anyways, these are not sponsors. I I have them right here. You know, my little Samsung. My tablet. That's not cool. Staple. See, distracted already. I have these items, and all of them have their purpose. If I'm on the road and I need Wi-Fi, well, I'm going to bring this. If it's just a simple idea sketch, I'm going to take this because I can also read a book on the road. But they all have a password, and I love that because it keeps my kids off my shit. So, but for this, we are going to be using the Remarkable. Uh, Now, I already set up this template. They have several other templates. I pay the subscription.
Today, Junior?
I pay the subscription to have access to other tablets, but I don't find myself using them very often, actually. I have it. It was a free trial when I bought this, so whether or not I keep it or not, that's, you know, I haven't found a need for any of their tablets or their templates yet, outside of doing sketch work. So I have my different pens. Right now I'm using pencil. One thing I love about this is it will, I guess I'm using marker, but I'll use pencil. It tells you and understands how hard you're drawing. So if I'm trying to make a real faint line and so forth, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to delete it. So, and usually I shut that off so I don't accidentally turn everything on and hit it. So we made, or depending on where I throw this in the video, we are making or we have made this. It's just a simple little thing like that. So, gotta get a new tip on there. Alright. And here comes my erase. I have the upgraded pen, so I can erase like that. Boom. This is what we kind of made, or are making. Now, I'm going to do the other side of it. And boom, boom. Anyone who's taken any drafting classes understands that I should be using all kinds of crazy things, but I don't have that right now. Let's grab it. My T-square. But how do you have a T-square? You're on a tablet. Well, Practical CAD says I would one day need a T-square. And that T-square was 3D printed, designed by me. I colored it included. No ticks, anything. But let's say, let's just start all over. Let's just start this over so we can make things look nice. That, we're going to cut it, go back to drawing. So I'm going to draw my side profile first. Let's do that on the bottom. Okay, boom. Side profile. A little thin, too thin for my liking. You know what? Let's keep that there. And get rid of the other one. I know. Probably taking too much thought into this, but it's what it is. Alright, so then we'll do, that's our side profile. Now we can transition into parametric view. And let's get a little more. There we go. There's our top view for our corners. Let's get our reference point. Boom. Get our next reference. Okay, Practical CAD does not recommend that you have to do all this shit. I don't. I'm doing it mainly for fun. Alright. Let's just reference to this. So when you're thinking this way, think of it as this is my side view, this is my top view. So I'm creating a rollover on this item. And that's all I'm trying to do. So I can make this a little thicker because it's the top view. And let's cut it off at this line. The thing I love about doing digital is I can just quickly make my reference points, delete what I don't want. It's just a simple erase. Not precise, but I can at least get it going. And the remarkable is so easy to just slide around, even when this gets in the way. But as you notice, I've stayed on this side. So now I have somewhat of my reference point, and this is when I start thinking, okay, am I going to stay square? No. I'm going to round these out. I don't have the tool in front of me to do all that good fun rounding. And I know I want an anchor point. So I'm going to freehand it. As you see, I am awful at. And let's round these ones too. Alright, boom. I went a little short. Let's get back on that. Boom. There's that. It's not going to be perfect. This is a sketch. Okay. Now, depending on where I place this in the video, we're going to figure out if it's going to be the whole is going to be here. Okay, we already know that this length from here to here is 40 from center. So that is simple first grade math. 80. All right. So this was, let's just say 5 millimeters. Yes, I know I should have put it from there to there. Looks like the print is done. So this will happen at some point. And then we measure this, which was 40, let's say. And now we have some basic dimensions. Let's make this a 5. And we'll do our center point, our round, at 10 millimeters. Our center point there at 10 millimeters. All right, so that gives us some basic reference for what we printed. And now I'm going back. Hope you enjoyed a brief reaction and printing lesson. I'm gonna raise it up for you. Oh, the light is awful. So anyways, that's what we sketched. That's what we designed. And then we're gonna go. We're gonna first just to let you know, I'm using Fusion 360. This is a non-commercial use. I'm not making any money out of this. This is my first video, so I doubt I'll make anything out of this because there's no commercial. Anywho, so you can get this for free. Fusion 360 gives this license for free. I originally had it as a student when I was going to college for CAD Cam, and graduated, and now I just kind of do this. But all right, so let's get back to the little drawing here. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to sketch. All right, just click on line just to get your orientations. All right, we can change what tool we're going to use once we pick the orientation. Now, let's just go with that one. I'm going to go up here and pick on the square tool. And I want to reference from the center. I always like referencing from the center because it keeps me on the zero plane, and everything kind of just works out. So, as you see on the highlighted area, it is going to be the height, and here is the width. Hitting the tab key allows you to transition from back to forth, or goes back and forth. Alright, so I'm going to do 40, and then on this one I will do 20. Alright, it automatically corrects it and locks it in place, and that's important because it creates an anchor point for your model so it doesn't go all nuts if you move something around. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit finish. Now I'm going to do an extrusion. Alright, so on this extrusion, let's just make it, let's go 10 millimeters. Nothing crazy, just 10. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button around and I can rotate the object. Alright, very simple. Just the middle mouse button and drag it around. If you find yourself like, oh, I need to get on that side, you can rotate it in a circle. Counterclockwise will get you one way, clockwise will get you the other way. Here we are. I have my initial thing. Now I'm going to create my squares. So I am going to make a sketch. I need my elevation, so I'm not going to change the center. I'm just going to do this, create the lock. It's going to automatically lock to it. I need my width. Let's say it's 20, so I'm just doing everything in half. Oop, wrong one. 20. I'll put this one at 10. Alright, that gives me my square for my riser. And this side, I'll do it again. Sketch, 2 points, lock it, hit 10, call it good. Now that gives me 2 orientations. Now this is very basic. This is for like very, very beginners on doing it. Normally I would have honestly just did two builds, one on this side, one on that side, and then just had it shoot right through. But for this, I'm not going to do that. Alright, so I'm going to click on the box, do my extrusion. I want my extrusion to, let's say, 40. Alright, boom. Now, mind you, it's going to be different than this. This is just free form. And then I'll do this one at 40. Alright, boom. So now I have somewhat of an S. But let's say I don't like this. It's too long. You know, it's not something that I'm a fan of. Yeah. So I'm going to hit extrusion again. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to hold shift. I deleted the whole thing. Well, I don't want to delete. I want to join. Now it's an H. But that's a little too far. I don't want to go that far. I do want it to cut though. So let's say I cut 20 off. So I'm going to click on this, hit -20, and boom, and it's gone. Now I'll click on this one, I'll hit -20, and that looks a little easier for me, a little nicer. Alright, so let's say I want to round these out. Very intuitive. I'm going to use a fillet. Click on it. I'm just going to start clicking on all the edges. I want fillets. So my visual is with the lines. If you go down here under the display settings, virtual style, I can do shade. I like to do with the hidden lines, but let's click on this. See, only when you get there. But I like to see everything. So it helps me just reference it. Okay, so now that I have my fillet selected, I'm going to just roll them up. Now I know that this gap is a 10, and I want it to stay a 10. I want it to kind of look rounded. Alright, now that I have that, let's put some little holes in it. Now, I'm going to pick the top surface. Makes my life a little easier. I'm just going to randomly pick. I don't like this orientation, so I'm going to rotate it with this little arrow next to the home for orientation, and I like using the point. So I go down to create point. Oh, but it's not going to tell me where it is. So I'm going to make a construction line. I'm going to find my center point. It's going to flop in there, and I know from there to there, from here's 20, but my center point is going to be at 10 millimeters. So I made the line. Now if I select that line, it's going to highlight blue, hit on your keyboard X, it's a little short key, turns it into a construction line. Now I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to find my point, and I'm going to go type in 10, boom, make that a construction line. That is just for reference. As you see, as I rotate, the plane is way up there. But I'm trying just to make a construction line. You know, just a reference point so that I can come over here, do a circle, and I could do a hole later, but keeping things very simple. Trying to cut down the number of sketches to building this. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. Let's just do it at 3. This is merely just for creating a screw hole. That's all this is, just the pilot hole, so when you're 3D printing, you have an anchor point within your infill. 3, because remember, practical CAD, not engineering CAD. If this was an engineering course, man, we'd be diving into this for an hour, 2, 3 hours, but I'm just trying to get something simple. Alright, so I'm going to finish my sketch, or I can go over here and hit not surfaces, but solids, hit my infill, or my extrusion, my bad. Learn my terminology, you'd think, with a college degree. Alright, now, over here, we can pick on the distance. Normally, you can just type in the distance, but let's speed things up. Let's go to object, which means we can now select, instead of trying to remember how deep this is, remember this is not just for this part, it's for every part you can learn. To object, rotate it, click on the bottom, bam, cut the hole. This doesn't matter. I mean, because there's nothing there. And even if I were to draw something in there later, I'd have to, contend with the whole to begin with. So at least it's, parametric. It's thinking. All right. So I'm gonna hit OK. Now I have my very basic part. But here's the thing. Do I want just the basic part? No, let's make it nice, like we did here. So we're going to use the fillets. We're going to click on it. Fillets are a little tricky because sometimes you're limited. So let's hit this one and this one. Let's just clean it up. Let's go to 10. Let's just type in 10. All right. It has no issues in doing it. And if you see here, I didn't do that. So it is different. Alright, but now let's click on the sides. Sometimes fillets matter on which orientation you're doing it first. So let's do these. See how it all nicely connected all in there? I'm going to drag this. Until we get something nice. Alright. So that looks really cool looking. And let's do this last fillet. Right in here. We're just going to click it. This time we're going to drag out instead of down. Now, do how far do we get away with? We get away with 10. Alright. So that looks pretty neat. It's not identical to the front one, as you see, but it looks pretty neat nonetheless. I like the nice rounded. Now, there's a reason why I do fillets on stuff like this. You have to think the printer. Which type of printer are you using? If you're using a resin printer, well, your resin printers are great for making stagnant models, all right, like figurines, things at super high detail with zero practical knowledge. Now, I'm going to do some basic PLA today. That's what we're going to make this thing out of. It shouldn't take very long. It's a very tiny piece. And, I'll throw that video in right after this, and then we'll kind of go over it. It's going to be very quick. But once you kind of see everything running, you'll understand that certain things, if you want strength, certain filaments are better for that. And they got 100 videos out there that can tell you all about that. Today we're just going to do PLA, which is just a basic little plastic. I have a K1C Creality. I call it my Ninja. It's one of my faster printers that I have. I have the CFS system attached to it, which allows me to do multi-color prints and things like that. But I also have, other items that I can use to, help out. I have a paint booth when I'm doing like models and things like that, and airbrushing. Practical CAD encompasses so much because whatever you're trying to build and design, you want it to look good in the end. So this isn't just about showing you this. It's about eventually showing you, find something in your house that you need. Let's say you have a security camera and you need to make a mount for it. Well, shit. Let's make a mount for it. If you are really big into Warhammer and you have a very large piece that you want to paint, but you don't want to paint it on its stand. So let's make a mount for it that'll hold the item while you paint. And things like that. So this is going to be a bit of a hobby channel, but it's about practicality. If you're a woman and you got a man, or you got a woman, about printing what they need. And if you're a man, trying to print what your wife or your man, your husband need, well, this is going to help you as well. So hopefully my audio, I've been wandering around with my mic. It wasn't too low when I was talking. I won't know until I do playback. All right, so there's your practical, and now here's the kicker. In the non-commercial license, they give you a very limited amount of space to save. As you see here, I can't save. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna, because it's gonna eat up probably like my last slot. It's very limited. Very, very limited. So, whatever I end up doing here, how am I supposed to keep a copy of it? How am I supposed to create this in my CAD software if I can't save it? Well, that's where meshes come in. Meshes are great because they take the item that you currently have and they create a 3D printable item. Now, yes, you can go into their settings and do a print, save, but it's still just going to do this. So I'm going to right click on the saved. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to scroll down until it says save as mesh. Alright, can't save it as a copy because they're going to flag you. They're going to say, hey, where do you want it? I did some aquatic tanks. But here's the kicker. I don't want to save it in their cloud. It's going to eat up my space. I want to save it as a mesh. Alright, it's going to pop up this little window. It's going to say, hey, did you work in millimeters, centimeters? What measurements did you use? Well, I used millimeters, and so I used the metric system, which is just easier in CAD for me. I'm in America, but still, it's just easier. All right, so do I want to save it as an STL file? No, I want to save it as an object. It's very important. Save it as an object. So then I'm going to hit OK. It's going to pop up a save as screen, but here's the kicker. This is where it's different. I can save it on my computer. I did a little heart stand for my wife, and it came out amazing. All right, so I'm going to click on the 3 dots. I have a whole hard drive dedicated to parts, and I'm going to click on that, do a new file. Okay, so I'm going to type in practical CAD. Oh, and I am just a knucklehead for files, so we're going to say F1. And then we can type in what we're going to name this thing. We'll just call this F1. So it'll change the name. It knows it's an object. This matters nothing because I didn't click save to the cloud. I don't want it to save to the cloud. I want it to save to the computer. So I'm going to click on save. And there we are. Now, I'm going to transition from here over to my CAD slicing software. And I'll see you there. So here we are in my Creality Studio, in a sense. All right, so Creality makes a pretty decent slicer. I like it. It works well with my K1C. There's lots of cool little functions, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab the file from wherever you store it. I'm just going to drag it in. All right. Ignore that pop-up. It's going to say, hey, all these settings, what do you want? These are your current colors. I'm just going to hit OK. It's very simple. Oh no, the orientation is all jacked up. This is going to be awful. But it looks really cool. How do I fix that? Well, for this practical CAD lesson in the basics of Creality, Basics commenters. So I'm going to hit which side is going to be the, laying on the face. I'll click on it. It's going to give me options. All right. And I'm going to click on this. Boom. That's the end of that. Now I have this overhang. I'm going to let the computer do it, and we're going to see what kind of supports they're going to give. So right now, no supports are turned on. So I'm going to click on support. I'm going to click on this. I like the natural tree. It just comes off easier. There's less touching and less to clean up. So I have it as an overhang of 30. As you see, when you have this lay, it kind of tells you where it's going to say, hey, that's your 30 mark or whatnot of where your overhang is. For me, let's just see. Oh, another thing. Bed adhesion is a really, really important thing. Your first layers, if your first layer is crap, the rest of your item's going to be crap. You can help that with glue to help pull it off the bed easier, but adhering during the print. There's several other ways. I like using glue, but to give me even more success, I go down here to others, and I go to brim. Brim on auto, I feel like it never puts a brim on, no matter what. So I make sure I put a brim every time on the outer side. Alright? Always. I always keep a brim on. It helps with any corner lippage, like when it's wanting to pull up. We're not going to have that issue because we have these rounds, these fills. Alright, so now I'm going to hit slice the plate. Boom. It gave me this. It gave me a little work right here and a lot of work here because this is a straight 90. It is horizontal as horizontal will get. I'm going to roll this down and boom. You see that's the piece. Now this is your infill. This is what keeps it from kind of being hollow, which is important because you don't want it to fall apart. It also helps when you get up to the upper layers as its own internal support. See the circle? This is what I was talking about in the CAD software. Giving our screw a place to cut into. Now that's only 2 millimeters thick. That's thin. Alright? Because we want this to have an anchor, like a real strong threaded in the screw, you want meat. You want the meat.
Where's the beef?
And this doesn't have any meat. This right here, see how this is hollow. The thread of the screw is just going to rip right through here, and there's going to be nothing really hanging on. This is where this is such an important tool. See how all the way to the top, there's almost nothing that's going to touch. So there's two options. We can shrink this to make the fillet even smaller, but it's going to eat up more of the, it's going to eat up more, let's say 25%. We're going to hit slice, but see how it's smaller? But that's going to cost us more time. 24 minutes now. What was it before? Let's undo. 24 minutes. I guess it cost us a minute and change. All right. Or let's increase the size of the walls, the thickness. How many layers? Let's go 4. All right. This is going to cost us time, but all right, a lot more time in a sense. But look at the meat. When we're trying to screw something into the wall, you want the meat to be anchored, holding on. I want my screw threads. Because remember, this is only 3 millimeters, so this is very small. Just enough to get the tip of the screw to go all the way through, and then the screw rip to go into the filament. So even though that's going to cost me more time, it's going to save me on having to deal with a piece that's just going to rip off the wall. And if I'm using this, let's say, on a pop-up, all right, or I'm, creating it to hold a wire or something, I always got to think, what is it going to be supporting? What's going to hold? And how much meat am I going to have here? So that's why I'm choosing to go with more of that. Hey, you know what? Let's look, because practical CAD, if we can do it the first time, then great. If we can get it the second time, even better. Go 25, and let's see what happens. All right. Let's move that out the way. So, here we are. Just leaving it on the face. Let's move it around. So, here we are. Look at all that meat. It's going to hold that screw. It's going to hold it. And we got good grip there, good grip there. It's going to hold that anchor spot really well. Yeah, it's going to cost me 4 minutes to do this. Extra in time. But you know what? I think in the end, not having to print this twice, it's going to save me 27 minutes and change. Alright, so now that I've looked, I've kind of gone over. There's my neck. It looks strong. Alright, sometimes you have to change the orientation because you don't want a snap point here, because remember, this is your print. Each of these layers is a weak point that can snap. So there we are. Boom. Now that we've covered how our meat for our screws, we've covered the infill. Now, like I just was mentioning, the snap point. This is the weakest spot, but it's also the spot that's going to have the most strength needed. We put this fillet in to kind of help give it some strength, but let's change orientation. Let's go back in to preparing the surface, the whole setup. Let's go in to rotate. So we've got a flat 90. Let's grab this red. Let's go 45-ish. Alright, it's going to auto shift. It's going to correct itself. Now we have one spot that's going to definitely need a little bit of support. But we already have supports on. We have the infill. All that stuff is done. Alright, now look at our layers. Our layers are there. Remember, the strength of the item snapping here was really high. Now snapping this direction is going to make this thing a lot harder to break. And look at that. We saved ourselves a few moments of time. Now I could kick this thing to that this nose is actually touching the bottom, and then we'll go from there. Let's try that. We'll do another rotate. We'll probably get away with rotate. But let's make it to the face. Let's hit that. It's touching the bottom because I used this face. Let's slice it. No, it still wants to hold it, but a lot less. Save myself even more time, but I have a 45-degree angle strength here. I still got 3 lines at that anchor spot. Infill. Boom. I like this. I think this is going to work out great. So I am going to get us ready for this print. It's going to take us 26 minutes in my time. Your time is going to be, oh my god, look at it. It's super fast. Well, the Ninja's fast, but not going to be that fast. So I am going to send to the printer, and I'll be blurring out my IP and crazy stuff because it's all in the network. I'm going to hit what color, and It's going to say, hey, did you check your print bed? I'm going to say, hey, I did check my print bed. But what I didn't do is apply anything. So you're going to see my hand in a second. My hideous fingers in the screen. Woo! I add a little dab. Just a quick little squirt. Nothing crazy. This is the stuff they gave you from China. It's fine. It works great. My bed is a little dirty. I had some really, really big prints that were taking up some of my stuff. Oh, crap. I don't know if you heard any of that. I was talking loud enough, maybe. My office is my office. A little long. All right. So, I hit OK. It's going to upload. Now, it's going to stay local in this system. It's not going to be uploaded to the Creality Cloud or anything like that. You can choose to do that if you want, but you don't have to. Let me check that real fast. I thought I saw something on the little camera here. It was running down. Yep, that was. That'll get purged from this little guy here. As you see, the print bed is raising. It is being lifted by all the little gremlins. Right here. Okay, so as you see, my print bed's not the cleanest. I had some very large prints go through my Ninja. But I call it the Ninja, but it's not a Ninja. It's just a Creality K1C. I have several other printers, a couple big ones, a couple other models. But the K1C is my workhorse. It's the one I keep in the office and all that. So right now it is kind of just seeing where everything is. It's going to do a bed level. It's going to do a bunch of other stuff. Just to calibrate every time. It adds time to your print, but so does screwing everything up. So if you keep everything decent at the beginning of your print like this, then if you keep it going like this, then on each print you have a higher chance of beginning success. I have gone through without calibrating, like, oh, some of my other ones are dumb printers. I consider the K1C a smart printer because it does self-leveling. It does all that extra stuff when you don't have to. But this K1C goes so damn fast it needs to calibrate, shake, all that other stuff. Because it is crazy when you're watching it just chugging away, just it's nuts. It's nuts. It's awesome. So it's doing its preheat. It's going to do a purge. It's going to move over here, spew out a bunch of stuff once the white filament comes in. Then it's going to do its shake test, its level, all that other stuff. And then we'll get to the print. So I'm going to stop talking, and when it gets to its purge point, I'll be back. Here's that purge section that I was talking about. As you saw, I finished my level, but here is my purging of color. So I had a black in there before, and now we're going to push in the white. The CFS system that Creality has. It's honestly really cool. I've had only a few complications with it, a few jams here and there. My biggest complaint is this part. If it doesn't purge off the head, you'll find it in the print bed, and you're like, oh, come on, let go. I've reset it. I've done everything I could to try to get it to purge down, but it's definitely a lot of waste. See, as you see the purge, now it's switching to white. The black is gone. That was all that was left in the print head. Broke the head, so we're good there. It took it off. Now we're going to go start our print. We're doing the basic. There it goes. It's pumping away. So we're at first layer. So let's go all the way to our thing and to look at first layer. So first layer is supports. It's got this little spot. We're going to have a brim over here, and then we have nothing but supports. If we hit the little play button, we can see what it's doing. And little dots. It'll do the big circle. And then go over there. That's the first layer. As you see, it's moving fast. We're already on layer 2. And that was between me switching over, scrolling it, and it's moving faster. Now we're on layer 4. I mean, that's how fast this K1C is. Yeah, we're elapsed 2 minutes for, the basics of, calibration, but for the most part, this is practical CAD. Walk away from it on your first layer. Worst mistake ever. I will send a link to a video that on another channel that I have that was about the BLOB of death, because my K1C completely failed to the point where I had to buy a whole new head. It ripped these wires all apart. It was crazy. It was the worst fail I've ever had in any of my printers, and it's because I walked away at layer 1, didn't even pay attention, and it was an hour and a half later, and it completely screwed my printer head up. It only cost me $30 to repair, but that's $30 I don't want to spend on repairing. So my policy is, and I hope you take this to heart, stay for the first couple layers. That's when you know your bed adhesion is going to work. And once you have that, but boom, turn on some music, go do the dishes, play with the kiddos, because you know you got at least 27 minutes for this print. For me, you're going to be getting fast forwarded now, and then I will be back at the end of the time. And enjoy the non-copyright music that will soon play. Now. Hi. Hopefully I've linked the audio correct. There's a bit of a delay from camera to phone, which is recording. So this is what we had been working on earlier in our sketch, and here's what we have for our practical. Now, as you see, we didn't bother with understanding the rounds on this because practically that's not what this stage is for. This stage is for getting the basic idea out. Like, what are we trying to achieve overall? This is V.5, all right, of the process. Like the very, very beginning concept art. Basic dimensions, what you're right there when you're looking at the item that you're trying to compare. I mean, this is like version 7. As you see, there's not even screws. These are pins. You know, I did everything that I could to make this as practical as possible. Even having a little dangle hook thing. Uh, Eventually, this will be available in an Etsy store, but until then, it's mine. T Square is probably copywritten somewhere, but this is just a good drafting tool for basic tablets. Use it on pretty much every one that I have. All right, so this was the basics. This is the practical. As you see, my print bed is not huge. My workhorse is actually really, really small in comparison to my other larger printers. But this is my workhorse. This is for speed, getting something as quickly as I can, and then putting it together. So here's the more satisfying thing. Ooh, get the hiccups. Ready? Hearing the pop. Metal beds are amazing, and I love it. Helps get these off. All right. Good to go. Need to clean the bed. So I'm not even going to put it on the printer so I can clean the bed. Simple soap and water. All right. Because it's just regular like Elmer's glue that's just holding things on. So you can get a tool. You can use your fingernails. Remember, we increased the fillet inside. So this guy is solid. I'm a pretty strong dude, and I can't snap this sucker. So let's say I want to mount this on the wall. Right in with the drill. And then have this side holding something. Might say a hanger. All right. Now, would I have used the picture frame or something like that for this? No, because it's a single hole, and you have a tendency to want to twist. But that being said, let's take a screw. We gotta test this thing out. You know, like everything in the world, you need time to test. Getting some screws from Magical Screw Bin. Prototype. All right. External screw. All right. Now I have an anchor point. This is that meat that I was talking about. This is what's going to go into those layers. You're going to hear the crack. You're going to be like, oh, God, it's breaking. And it is. All right. But we're going to test this sucker out. Practical. Go slow. All right. Don't want to hurt yourself. It's a drill, but you can get this screw ripping into your finger. I'm already through, so that's a good sign. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm already in the meat. All right, let's get some more light because I don't like it yet. It's a little shadowy. All right, this is my paint booth that I made last night. It's got 2 fans inside, a box within a box, so I can paint in the house with my airbrush. Okay, here we go. Right in. Now you see, that screw is a lot bigger than 3 mil, and I wanted that. But if I had done it as a solid hole, this would be a nightmare to guide. So this hole just merely is used as a pilot. So I don't have to drill it first. I already did it. And it gave me a location of all that meat that I was talking about, so that these threads can slide their way in, and then boom. That is solid. Now, if I was going to use this as a picture frame, mind you, this is not what I would use for a picture frame. It's huge. I would shorten this, but remember, orientation helps your break point. Right here is not my break point. Vertical is my break point. So if I'm holding something, boom, I could break here if I had it the other direction. But I have a higher tensile strength. Big words. All right. Undo this. You're not going to be able to see that. I don't have a microscope or anything for you. But that, I have something, but it's not going to work. Anyways, it created a bit of a lip here, and I mean, practical, it's a little big, but for a first-time model, this is kind of just something cool, something you can just say, look, I made an S. So anyways, hopefully that helps you guys understanding the basics of from beginning concept to end. There's no concept for this to be applied to on anything that I have, but you know, maybe I'll screw that in, put something there as a model, magnet, boop, now it's an S. But understanding the basics of this and everything we went over will help you understand the basics of doing something more meaningful. I went with something that would give you an understanding on multiple fronts, so that you can get to a point where you could do a concept of, hey, I want to draw on my tablet, but I don't want my 3-foot T-square to be my tool for barely a foot item. So building a concept, designing practical things is all this is going to be about. Understanding the basics to get to what you need. Next video, after I do all the editing of this thing and snapping it in and getting my stutters and my uhs out, we will get to the next phase of practical CAD. See you next time.